Are you ready?
Are you ready?
For a podcast hosted by George T.
Who the hell are you?
I am the movie geek.
Who are you?
I am the movie geek.
You are such a geek.
Thank you.
And now, on with the show.
It's time!
It's showtime.
It's showtime. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Movie Geek Podcast. And as always, I'm your host, George T. And we got another special one here. We're going to go through day one, A Quiet Place. And I will go through the entire trilogy of the Quiet Place movies. So let's not waste any time. Spoilers, obviously, for all of these movies. The first two were simply, really well done. The suspense and just the unknown factors of these creatures made it, that much more terrifying. At the very beginning of the first movie, Chris Nerek's family with Emily Blunt loses their child when his little rocket ship goes off and a creature runs by and grabs him. So the entire movie, they're trying to capture one of these things or continue to kill them. And if they got inside the complex that they set up, bells and whistles would go off, fireworks and stuff. And it was just the tension of trying to live in this world. Also, the fact that Emily Blunt's character was pregnant and was going to eventually have a child in this world. And as we get closer to the child's birth, there is the scene where she's being chased by the creatures and she has to give birth, basically, in silence. And it's incredible to witness, because normally childbirth, there's a lot of screaming. Sometimes there is just a lot of thrashing around, making noise. And she did it and somehow kept the baby quiet enough for them to escape. And then obviously the climactic end of the movie, Emily Blunt's character, the newborn, and the other children survive. Basically simple. That's how the movie works. You don't have to give much detail on that. The second one had the same elements. This time we have the newborn in a sealed container. Every once in a while, it will need air. So they needed to get into a quieter place to deal with the crying child. So again, it just sets up the tension. Well, are they going to be able to stop in time to feed the baby, make sure the baby doesn't cry? They meet up with some people. Some people aren't nice. Some other people took them in. So again, they survive and we move on. So this one is actually a prequel to the whole thing, obviously, called Day One. So we have a completely different cast and two real main characters. The lead character, Sam, played by, and I know I'm going to screw this up, Lupita Nyong'o. And we have Eric, played by Joseph Quinn. Joseph Quinn, obviously from Stranger Things, hot actor at the moment because he's going to be in another movie he's going to be in a few movies along the way here in 2024. So these two characters meet accidentally. And it is quite an epic scene at the beginning. So let's take you now to the spoilers, obviously. So Sam is in a hospice center. She has stage 4, and she, is going to die at some point relatively soon. Her nurse, her best friend, Ruben, played by Alex Wolff, tries to get her to at least have a day in the city in New York and grab pizza. So she's reluctant about it. She doesn't want to go into the city. She just wants to stay in her room, stay in the hospice center. It is what it is for her. She knows her days are numbered. So he eventually gets her to go out, and obviously it's going to be a bad day. First off, going into New York City is bad enough, but now nobody saw the threat of the aliens coming, obviously. She's kind of oblivious to her own world. She owns a cat. The cat went with her. And the cat is significant in this movie, and I'll explain afterwards. So, Ruben tricks her and tells her, well, we'll go get pizza after a show. So they had a bunch of different groups show up for this puppet play where she, has some flashbacks to, the days, the good old days. And then she wants to leave. She goes outside. She's going to walk for pizza because she was told that she was going to get pizza. Ruben stops her and is like, we need to get out of the city. Something is going on. And you can hear the rumblings in the air and, the deafening sounds of screaming. They board the bus. The bus starts to take off, but meteorites hit New York City, carrying these creatures. And that's when the bloodbath begins. And everyone is screaming, and there's just loud noises everywhere. People are just getting killed left, right, and center. She is trying to keep quiet, trying to stay safe with her cat, mind you. And eventually she's able to get inside a building and, survive that whole attack at the beginning. So now we have a group of survivors in the building. They have realized that being loud and, running around is not the best idea. These things are reliant on sound, so everybody is keeping quiet. The cat starts to move around, and at some point you're thinking, oh man, this cat's gonna meow, and it's gonna be over for these people. He does move toward a door, and she has to go and grab him because one of the creatures is out by the door, and she steps on glass, and luckily the creature doesn't find them, but hears it, walks around, but again, because it can't see, only by sound, it misses everyone. Well, I know for one that cats can be a little noisy. Although this one was a white cat, so there is a difference. If it was a black cat, like Jasper, that's mine and Ashley's cat's name, the cat would be meowing and we'd be dead. I'm just throwing that out there. It's just a fact of life. However, the white cat pretty much keeps cool. She starts to walk outside the building as the army is flying over, trying to lure the creatures away from certain buildings. by saying over loudspeakers that everyone should stay where they are, stay quiet, and nothing will be done to you. So she starts to take off. Now it is raining. So she winds up stumbling into two little children sitting under a water fountain. When she gets under there, they start to talk to her, but nothing, they can't hear what's going on. So she figures, well, while it's raining, if I can find a place where, it'll block the sound, I can maybe get some other people to come with me and we can try to run somewhere. So this is where we meet up with Eric. He is in the subway and he pops up out of the water. One of the subway things was flooded. And, oh, by the way, staring right at the cat. So you're thinking, okay, maybe the cat's going to meow because he sees Eric and Eric's going to die. But again, the cat, to his charm and personality, just doesn't meow. So Eric winds up following the cat back to Sam. Sam and Eric have a conversation under building structure. And she's like, you need to go, I'm going to be heading into the city further. I'm not going to try to find a way out. I want to find pizza. And he's like, well, can I come with you? Because I don't want to go out there alone. And she's like, oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And don't follow me. Well, of course, Eric's going to follow her because he doesn't want to get killed. They find their way to the building, and you see it in the trailer where the glass ceilings and all that, where the creatures come flying down into. What happens is they try to go through the rotating door in the front, and obviously there's a briefcase there, and they're pushing as hard as they can, and the briefcase slides across, hits the glass, and that startles all the creatures that are there. They do survive to live another day. She then figures, well, if we're going to go anywhere right now, we're going to go to my old apartment. So she had an apartment in the city, and she gets there, and it is raining again. So now they can actually have conversations. And this is where the character development comes in with these two characters who are complete opposites, obviously. Eric is a young businessman who came here to the United States. She was born and raised here. Her father had passed away from cancer. She has it, and right now is trying to live out her days. And so they build a bond and a friendship, and they figure out how maybe they can survive this whole thing together. And so they make a pact because, again, she wants to find pizza. Because at this point, she knows that her days are numbered, but she wants to have one last pizza before she, kicks or dies from this alien attack. So while they're in the building, the Air Force and Army helicopters fly by, telling everyone to get to the river because these things can't swim. So there are rescue boats out there. So they both go to the ground floor, and as everyone is moving, she realizes this is a horrible idea. And let's just throw this out here, folks. If these creatures do go by sound, and they are hanging on to buildings. And we are walking 5, 6, 7 deep, shoulder to shoulder, with walkers and just, or strollers or whatever is going on, shuffling feet. Do you really think you're going to survive? She goes in the opposite direction of everyone else, and sure and shit, something happens and the horde of people start getting attacked. And she knew it, and she survived. So eventually, everything calms down, and Eric and her try to find a pizza place. Well, eventually they do find one. And it is kind of a lounge area, and quietly put on a little performance. She was a pianist, played for her dad. Her dad was a jazz singer, so she didn't play the piano, but she sat in front of it, kind of, did the whole thing, and they just enjoyed a pizza together. But again, their bond and their friendship was really special, and at this point, they came up with a pact to get Eric out of the city. She knew her days were numbered, and she did not need to get to the rescue boat, but she had to get Eric to the rescue boat. And again, all the meanwhile, the cat has been completely silent. And again, cats usually meow when they're hungry. So how this cat did not meow at all and cause any kind of ruckus is amazing to me. So they make their way toward the waterfront, and she has a plan to distract the enemy creatures because they are standing along the waterfront waiting for people to come toward those boats. They can't get to the boats because they can't swim. So she says, "Take the cat and go. I'm staying. I will make sure that you get to where you're going." And he's like, "Well, you're going to get killed." And she's like, "If that is the case, then I want to make sure that you are safe and my cat. Make sure you take care of the cat." So she starts running in the opposite direction to distract. And sure enough, they start running after her. And he hesitates. He hesitates because he is torn about leaving her alone. But eventually he does take off, and all of a sudden, unfortunately, he winds up bumping into a car, and now the chase is on. They start running in the opposite direction toward him, and he's running as fast as he can, and he gets to the pier, and now they're crawling everywhere. Will he make it? Will he not make it? Well, he makes it. He makes it to the water. They can't get him. And he swims to the boat. They take him in. They get him, wiped down with the towels. And he finds a note in his pocket that she must have slipped into his pocket that night before they made the pact to get him out. And it read, make sure you take care of your cat and, live a full life. So that's kind of how it ends, although she winds up going back for some pizza. She now has headphones on, just walking into the middle of the street, and she takes her headphones off and takes the headphones out of the music player she's playing, and that's how it ends. So, again, a well-written, well-acted performances by both of them. So, this movie gets 2 thumbs up for me. It was Very, very good. Very intense at times. But again, the two main characters, Sam and Eric, were well done, well acted by both of them. And again, it is what you expect it to be. If you love the first two movies, you're going to love this one even more. And because again, now you kind of find out what they do, as opposed to when the first two movies, well, at least the first one anyway, you didn't really know what those creatures were, why they did what they did. We still kind of don't know where they came from, but it's implied that they came from another, solar system or planet or whatever. But we don't know why they came. But hey, you know what? We're all glad they came to New York City, because why wouldn't we want to destroy New York City? All right, I digress. But anyway, so all three films are very good films. If you have not seen them, or if you've seen the first two, this one is definitely a must-watch. And if you've seen this one and you liked it as much as I did, comment back, do whatever. But it was a fun movie, and that's all I got really to say about that one. So this was the last movie there. I hope that you've listened to my other ones about Bad Boys Ride or Die and the Bike Riders. And I'll have more reviews and more news on my next podcast episode. So I will see you at the movies.
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.